Managing subdomains in Plesk. This tutorial will show you how to manage subdomains in Plesk. If your domain name is demo-domain.net, a subdomain is anything of the form subdomain.demo-domain.net. For this demonstration, we logged into Plesk as the admin user. If you're logging in as a client or domain administrator, the navigation will differ slightly and some of the options will not be available in your control panel. Whenever possible, we will note the differences in access levels in this tutorial. Click the Domains link. Click the domain name. Under a Clients panel, the domains owned by that client will be listed at the bottom of the main menu accessed by clicking the Home link in the navigation panel on the left. Click the Subdomains icon. Under a Domain Administrator's panel, the Subdomains icon is located in the main menu accessed by clicking the Home link in the navigation panel on the left. Click the Add New Subdomain icon. Plesk gives us two options for how to host the subdomain. The first one is physical hosting, where the directory structure for the subdomain is completely separate from the structure of the rest of the domain. The other is a subdirectory of the main domain. First, let's add the subdomain using the physical hosting option. Subdomains added using the physical hosting option will be located in a subdirectory of the subdomains directory in the home directory of the main domain's user. Plesk will create a HTTP docs directory there that will be the document root for web requests on the subdomain. Subdomains added to point to a subdirectory will also be publicly accessible using the URL. If you need to restrict access so that management of the subdomain is completely separated so that those with access to the domain do not have access to the subdomain, you can add the subdomain as a separate domain completely. We will not cover this configuration in this tutorial. For instructions on adding separate domains, refer to the tutorial Managing Domains in Plesk. Click the OK button. Enter the subdomain. Click the www checkbox if you want the www subdomain also to be set up on the subdomain. Plesk gives us the option to use either the main domain's FTP user or create a new one for the subdomain. We're going to use the primary one. When configuring with a separate FTP user, the main domain's FTP user will still have access, but the initial directory will not be in the directory of the subdomain, as it would be for a separate FTP user. Due to the specific nature of these FTP accounts, they will not appear under the FTP Accounts section accessed from the main menu for the domain. Now let's enable front page support. Due to the special nature of these front page accounts, they will not appear under the front page management section of the main menu. Instead, they will be managed from the front page management icon inside the menu for the subdomain. Select the rest of the services you want enabled. Click the OK button. Click the subdomain name. Now let's edit the subdomain setup. Click the Setup icon. Let's switch it so that a separate FTP user has access. Enter the FTP login. Enter a password. Enter the confirm password. Click the OK button. Now let's hide the navigation panel so we can see all of the other options that are here. Many of the same options are available to configure for the subdomain as are available to configure for the domain itself. Now let's delete the subdomain and then re-add it to point to a subdirectory of the existing domain. Click the delete icon. Removing a subdomain that is using the physical hosting option removes the additional FTP user, if there is one, the settings, and all of the files associated with the subdomain permanently from the server, which cannot be retrieved or restored unless there is a pre-existing backup. It is recommended that you proceed with caution when removing these subdomains to make sure you do not accidentally remove something unintentionally. Click the OK button. Click the Add New Subdomain icon. Click the Subdomain on Subfolder radio button. Click the OK button. Enter the subdomain. Click the www checkbox. Plesk assumes that if you are adding the domain as a subdirectory, that you're going to access via FTP with the domain's FTP user. If you need to create a separate FTP user for the subdomain, you can add one under the FTP Accounts option found in the main menu for the domain. Click the OK button. Click the subdomain name. Click the Setup icon. Here we can edit the settings for the subdomain and click the OK button to save any changes. Now let's remove it from the subdomains menu. Click the subdomains link. Click the checkbox to select the subdomain. Click the Remove Selected link. When removing a subdomain that is using a subdirectory option, Plesk removes DNS records and web service configuration associated with the subdomain, but it does not remove the directory structure and the files from the server. The directory structure and files can either be removed in Plesk using the File Manager, accessible from the main menu for the domain, or via FTP, using the main domain's FTP user. Click the Confirm Removal checkbox. Click the OK button. Congratulations, you now know how to manage subdomains in Plesk.